psychic stoner, and I just want to sesh with y'all. So we're going to have a mindful, very mindful conversation today. It's like not necessarily super serious, but it's serious. I don't know. We'll get into it. Also, my hair, don't know what it's doing. Don't know what the bangs are doing. Don't know what's going on. Gonna try to, this is not an eating fork. It's a hair fork, okay? Don't knock it till you've tried it. And my brush is in the bathroom where my husband is taking a shit, so we're gonna deal with it. Oh my gosh, Nessa! Hello, Nessa. Don't mind me figuring out my bayang situation. We're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. That'll have to be fine. Okay, so welcome to the chat. Nessa, lovely to see you. I hope my title didn't scare you. Obviously, I'm a feminist, but there's been a lot, I'm sure you've seen the discourse online, and I want to get into my take on it, but honestly, more of the take that I think we should be having instead of what's actually being had. You know what I mean? So I'm excited to get into it. Ducky's in the chat. Good to see ya. And then we're also going to be smoking. And you're like, okay, so what we gonna smoke? Well, I'm glad you asked. Some kind of sativa. Faru Fight, hi, thanks for being here. Let me see what I got in here right now. Nice. I think this is 710 Labs, but we'll see. Hi, I gave my channel an update, LOL. Secretly, KV. Wait, what's your, who are you? Wait, is that Kaylee? I'm interested, feminist by study here. New username, who dis? So you have abs? Question, is that a question? We all have abs, but it depends on the angle of if mine are showing. Rainbow's in the chat. Aquarius. McStomp Chomp. Kaylee. Okay, so Secret K is Kaylee. Perfect. Okay, so you guys, I wasn't going to start with the title topic, but I feel like I should because it's kind of like rage baity. Not rage baity. What's it called? Clickbaity. But it's real. I do want to talk about this. I'm sure you guys have all seen, it's all over the internet, and it's really disheartening, the discourse that has happened since Drew Afualo's podcast with Fightmaster has kind of had a resurgence. It was uploaded a year ago. Now it's causing a lot of backlash, and I want to talk a little bit about just about that whole situation and my opinion on what we can learn from it. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix the messy bun, but she real messy, so she's just gonna be a mess. But anyway, I have like a lot of thoughts on it, and none of them are probably what you're expecting. They're probably not what you're expecting. So I want to start off by saying, if you don't know what the situation is, I'm not going to be playing the clip for you because I don't want to get like copyright stuff for YouTube. But it's an old video. It got re-uploaded on her channel because she has these videos where, or she has this thing on her channel where she'll just do like flashback Fridays or like replays kind of thing. Hi, Quinn. Oh, you like my hair and glasses, Ducky? Thank you. So anyway, Fightmaster, a white non-binary person, went on Drew Afualo, a cisgender woman of color. She's Samoan. She pronounces it Samoan, but I feel like as a white girl, if I were to say Samoan, it sounds like when I'm like, oh, can I have a birria taco, please? You know what I mean? So anyway, she's Samoan, woman of color, cisgender, straight woman, okay? So that being said, but she is an advocate and an ally, and she does her best to be. Anyway, Fightmaster went on her podcast and said something that has upset a lot of people. Now, I'm going to be very honest. I see all of the sides to it. I see why some women were offended. I also personally was not, but I see why others were. But I have a take that I'm not sure if a lot of people are going to understand. But I personally think that the backlash and the way it's being handled is the part that's making it worse. I do think Drew Afualo didn't actually say anything bad herself in the original clip. She actually didn't say any of it. She was just like, oh, okay, I agree, after like it was kind of explained to her. So I think it's a little bit, we're putting a lot of emphasis on a woman of color who didn't actually say the thing. However, hear me out. I don't think she's handling the backlash well. And I think that's true. what was said is basically Fightmaster, a non-binary person, born female. And I only say that because I think it's important, because no one in this conversation was a trans woman. And that's kind of my issue, is like, we should let, if we're going to have conversations about trans people and what they genuinely think or about what role they play, I think we should have more of them in the room. You know what I mean? However, Fightmaster said something, and I will admit, I don't really think that they worded it the best. It felt a little bit like infantilizing and romanticizing the trans women's experience, like the trans experience. No, I think the fuck not. I think the fuck not. I don't think so. No, ma'am. So anyway, what was said is, Fightmaster said that they think that trans women have a more beautiful perception of womanhood. And then another strange comment they made, which I think was really poorly worded. I get what they meant. It wasn't phrased properly, though, is my thing. They said, you're so much more than being sexually assaulted. A lot of women don't say they don't want trans women in the bathrooms because they're afraid of being assaulted, but then your issue isn't even with trans women, it's just with men, because you've been conditioned, and not even conditioned, but like rightfully so, taught that men will rape you, and that's not wrong. So my issue is, Fightmaster, out of everyone speaking, Fightmaster is the one that said the problematic thing. And I don't think they are getting enough backlash. I do think most of the backlash is being put on Drew Afualo. That being said, Drew Afualo has not handled this well. And I will say this. It made me feel like, wow, we really are human. Because for someone who like really talks about feminism and knowing when to just like apologize, I don't think Drew, I don't think is doing a great job handling the backlash. I think she's really triggered. I think she's really feeling just triggered and misunderstood, and yeah, all of that. And I'm going to say something a little wild. I personally am more irritated with the way that the backlash is being handled on her part, on Drew's part, and on Fightmaster's part. The original video, I kind of listened to it, and it kind of went right over my head. Not over my head, but I kind of just like went in one ear and out the other. Because I, as a white woman, as a white person, I am very, 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 very used to, and I say this with love, I am very, very used to hearing about myself. About, hey, you as a white person, you probably got a lot of shit wrong, or you probably see things from a really selective perspective, and that's correct. So I'm very used to having to check my privilege, check myself. I don't always get it right, but I think I'm just, if you're a white person who is not shitty and you're trying to be a good ally, I think a lot of us white people are pretty used to when we get told something like, hey, you should actually consider this instead. Maybe the way you've been thinking about things is wrong. It doesn't, or maybe the way you've been thinking about things is just your experience only, and it does not speak for everyone. I personally am very used to that. So when said that, I didn't take it as like, oh, it's a fact, like this person's experience is better or worse than mine. I took it as, oh, it's different. It's a different experience. It has its beauty to it. Cool. That's probably something I haven't considered. I'm used to being told I probably haven't considered things, and then having to like kind of check myself and rethink about it and like move accordingly. So it's been interesting to see how other people respond when they are told, not even just about how they processed what was saying and what Drew was saying, but how and Drew are now handling when they are being told, okay, your perspective, you meant one thing, but it came off wrong, and now you have to say it this way or you have to fix it, and how they're responding to it. I just find all of this very fascinating. As somebody who, from the beginning, I wasn't overly offended at all. I actually wasn't offended, period. But when other women are offended, I'm not really going to argue with them, because the way they took it is how they took it, and that's fine. Unfortunately, this whole thing has created so much division among feminists, among the trans community, among the women, just women in general. It's turned into a very transphobic conversation, and it's turned into an issue about trans women when it wasn't about trans women in the first place. Now they're the target. They're taking all the backlash. Drew was taking a lot of the backlash as well, obviously, and I get that. But trans women are being attacked left and right now because of this conversation that they weren't even present for. And that's so fucked up. And that's so unfair. And I wish that this conversation, instead of causing the massive outrage that it did, but okay, let's say that it did that. Now that it has, the response to it was also horrible. So it's like from the reaction to it to the response, bad, 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 bad. And I think it's like so unfortunate because we as women, cisgendered or trans, we should be able to call each other in when we feel like that instead of like shitting on people and being like, you're a piece of shit, you're this, you're that, you've never been good, you've never done anything right, you're actually not a feminist, you're not an ally. And it's a little bit like, it's really disheartening because I'm seeing people that I think are online in like the feminism and intersectional community who talk about these things going at each other. And it's like, this is why we don't win elections. This is why on the left, we don't win elections because we're all fighting with each other over stupid shit. And we can't just admit when we've gone too far or done too much. Like, I just think we all are like, and I'm not going to speak for Drew Afualo, but I am shocked at her response to this. I am shocked at the way that she's dismissing a lot of people's opinions, including trans women. I'm shocked at the way that, what's her name? It's like TS, it's a trans woman. She's a doctor. I just started following her. And like, I feel like Drew was spending a lot of time like arguing with these trans women rather than like truly hearing them out. And she made an apology video where she was like talking about she should have had a trans woman in the room, which I appreciate. But I also noticed it was kind of being like, don't worry guys, I talked to all of my trans friends and they all said I'm good aside from this one comment. Then come to find out, Drew's not actually friends with those people anyway. And that one woman came forward and I can't remember her name. I think it's like TS something. I can't think of it. She's a doctor. She's beautiful. She just got married. She's a trans woman. And she was making videos and Drew interacted with her. And like, she's tagging her, calling her a friend, saying like, that's my girl. And we talked about it. And this woman is saying that's not true. So to me, it's also reading those white people that are like, see, I have black friends and they said it's fine. TS Madison, I think that is who it is. Yeah. Do they have a name that's like TSD? Like TSD Madison? And I'm just shocked at like the turn it's taken because I didn't really expect it to get as serious as it did. And then I really didn't expect Drew to have such a bad reaction to it. Like, it was just like, cause I really like Drew Afualo. So I've been like, girl, and I'm going to actually speak about that a little bit further in a second. I totally understand that trips are a problem, but I think it's causing people to be a little dismissive to cis women. I fully agree. Because I will say, I get nasty vibes from Fightmaster. I get the same way that I don't like Jenna Ortega's energy for some reason. I don't like Fightmaster's energy for some reason. I don't think Drew, because it wasn't Drew's idea. Drew was listening and trying to be, in my opinion, trying to be an ally and trying to like be like, oh, okay, I understand. But it's gotten to a place where it's like, I think this white non-binary person said something that just was not correct. It was really poorly worded, and what they meant by it wasn't what was said. And I think Drew, trying to be an ally, has now gotten so defensive. She's going so far left. She's going right. Oh, I'm sorry, Rainbow. So you said you're not sure what I'm talking about? Okay. Let me go back. Wait. Wait, me too about what, Kaylee? I missed it. I'm sorry. So it's a content creator. Her name is Drew Afualo. And she makes a lot of content that like shits on men and uplifts women. And she is like a self-proclaimed ally, right? Typically, I'm all good with her. She had somebody last year on her podcast. It got re-uploaded. It came out a year ago. It got re-uploaded on YouTube specifically this year, like a few days ago, like a week ago. And Fightmaster, it was just like I don't know who that person is, but they're non-binary and white. And they said that trans women have a more beautiful experience of womanhood and like a better understanding of it because cis women, it's rooted in like, you know, fear of being sexually assaulted and shit like that. And their whole point was, well, if you don't like trans women, then your issue, because you don't want to be assaulted, your issue is just with like the patriarchy and men or whatever. It just didn't make sense. That topic didn't make sense. Like the way they worded it, because then to me, all they're saying is that trans women are men. Like it didn't make sense to me. So I didn't understand it. Oh, I feel weird about ER's vibe. They rubbed me the wrong way. Yeah, they have like a sinister fucking vibe. So anyway, Drew's response while their guest was saying all this was they were like listening. They're going, oh, okay, okay. And then at one point, Drew says, oh, okay, I agree. I also think Drew is someone who tries very, very, very hard to always be an ally. Now, here's where I think it's really getting fucked up. You have so many trans women, black trans women, telling you that what Fightmaster said is not good and that Fightmaster is apparently a racist. I don't know. I didn't know that. And then Drew was like, no, you're wrong, and I'm always going to protect the dolls, but the dolls are the ones telling you. Fightmaster is not even one of the dolls, baby. So what are you talking about? Also, I mentioned the whole, like, I tagged all my girls, I talked to my girls, my dolls, my trans girlfriends. It's giving I have black friends kind of a deal. Also, this is the only thing I want to really say about, this to me was the biggest, like, red flag. Drew Afualo posted a podcast with her sister on their Two Idiot Girls channel, where it's titled Our Most Serious Episode. And it's just them talking about this situation. So I liked that Drew was trying to say, like, that she just wants to support different viewpoints of womanhood and stuff like that. But it got to a point where she was sobbing and speaking for trans women. And she was like, it just kills me because trans women, the only thing they have to hang on to is like the beauty of like femininity and stuff. And I was just like, stop saying these things. Like you're not a trans woman. So I don't think you should be making these like claims. And I also think trans women experience so much violence in different ways than straight women do. Or sorry, not straight, cis women do. In different ways than cis women do. And I think Fightmaster's entire point was infantilizing trans women and making them seem like this delicate little, life is easy for us. We looked at women and we said, you are Gorgina. You are gorgeous. And we want to be like you. You know what I mean? That's a pretty big claim as a cis woman. I agree. It's a huge claim. If that person is not trans, they should not be speaking for them. I agree. Very true. God, trans women are assaulted at disproportionately high rates. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So I was like, and to me, trans women are not delicate. To me, trans women have had to go through a lot of trials and tribulations that are quite different than what a cis woman goes through, and also experience things similar to what a cis woman goes through. Whereas cis women go through things completely different for obvious reasons than a trans woman, and also similar things. So I just think like, making them out to be this delicate little flower who experienced womanhood as this light little butterfly thing, I didn't love that take on ER's part. Again, I was not offended by Drew in the podcast because it wasn't her thoughts. I was upset at how she is handling this because I think we are just creating so much division, and it's like really showing. Oh wait, I misunderstood you, I'm sorry. But I think it's just really showing, like, and this is why the left never fucking wins. Because we just can't all, like, stop trying to be, no, I'm right, and I'm more woke than you. And calling everyone a TERF who disagrees is, like, pretty shitty. I'm not somebody that can have a child. I have been told recently that I'm infertile. Well, that I am unable to carry a child. I think I can get pregnant, but I can't like carry a child. To me, womanhood is not the ability to have a child. However, it is a big part that's included in womanhood. So when some women are like, oh, my anatomy doesn't make up my womanhood, but I don't like when it's completely disregarded, or like giving birth is disregarded. That's why I'm not mad at the women who are offended, but I think the way that it's turned into this turf rhetoric, or like it's turned into like, I actually am a woman because I was born a woman. I don't like that, and I don't like the way that I'm seeing someone that I look up to in terms of how I handle like and try to learn about like dealing with feminism and being an ally and intersectionality. I don't think Drew's handling it well at all, and I'm really sad to see that. What did I miss? Sorry. So what Drew said in response was like really long-winded, and I don't think that she's getting it. So she made a video where her attitude is not apologetic, which I also think is very important when we go to do apologies or anything like that. When you're coming from a place of anger, it just shows. And I don't necessarily know if she was angry. I don't want to like say like, oh, a woman of color is angry, but she seemed really charged, I guess. So, oh, thank you, Rainbow. I appreciate that. So basically in her apology, she was like, hey, y'all, so I spoke to some of my trans women friends. I'm going to tag them below. But like, anyway, they told me the main issue is that I had these conversations without a trans person in the room. And then she goes on to say she personally feels that other people's, or that trans women's womanhood is more beautiful than her own, which I thought that was weird too. Because why are you comparing it? My problem here is the comparison. Okay, period. Why are we competing for the most womanly award? That's exactly what I'm talking about. Like, cause I genuinely thought it didn't need to be that serious. I was like, I think she could have come out and said, hey, you know what? It wasn't what I was saying, but I see why you're upset. My point wasn't to say that. You know, they were saying it, and I was trying to like agree and be a good ally, but I see what you're saying, and I don't think that we should have any type of comparison because nothing is better or worse or more beautiful. But instead, she's like, I'm saying that I agree that my personal womanhood is not as beautiful as a trans woman's womanhood. And I don't like that, because I would feel the same way if a trans woman were to say, I don't feel like my womanhood is as beautiful as a cis woman's. I would still be like, but why do you like feel that way? Like, it's not a competition. We don't need to have that mindset. So it's been really disheartening to see so many people that I just really looked up to in a lot of ways in a situation that I think is gross, and I don't think it's being handled well. There's no need to compare contrast to begin with. I totally agree. There's no need for that. Like, saying women have a beautiful vision of womanhood is totally fine. It's the more beautiful part that's ruffling feathers. Exactly, Kaylee. Exactly. And that's the part I agree with too, because she keeps doubling down on it and being like, I think, in my opinion, it's not as beautiful as a cis woman, like, as it would be for a trans woman. And I'm like, girl, shut up. What you should have said was, you know what, it's just different. They're just different, and I'm listening, and I'm learning, and I try to be an ally, and I don't always get it right, but I'm going to keep trying, and I got it wrong here, and nothing is more beautiful. It's all just different and whatever, and it's all valid. But instead, she's like doubling down on like, but again, for me, what made me the most uncomfortable was when she was crying on her podcast about how hard it is for trans women, and so they're clinging to the beauty of femininity. And I was like, this is making me uncomfortable, because it feels like when a white person is doing too much, you know, like, you know, those white women that want to be so woke that they're offensive. There's like character tropes like that all the time. Like, it's just like they're a very well-meaning white woman, but they're like offensive as shit through that. That's like what it's reminding me of. So, and I think as a white lady myself, I'm used to being told, oh, you might have said something wrong, fix it and correct it, and just like adjust. and like see it from another point of view. So I'm a little bit like, I'm shook that so many people, it's like their first time being told they're wrong and they're gonna have to adjust. And they're like, you're just not getting why I said it. That's my opinion. And I'm like, okay, queen. It's giving Cameron Diaz, the Philippines, Filipino. Mm-hmm. Adoba. Whatever the fuck she was saying. She was her little, I grew up around a lot of, in the Philippines, Filipino. When you try too hard, you might get into that white savior thing too. It's definitely tense, and white people are not used to being held accountable. Exactly. And the white savior thing is easy to get into. Like, as a white person, when you're trying to like do the work and then you start to notice other things, you have to like be on it. Like, I have not recently, but I remember like when I was like in like 2018, I remember having a slight little white savior complex because I felt like people around me just weren't getting it. And they weren't, but it's like, bitch, I'm still learning, okay? I'm not the know-it-all of shit. So I think just like it's a little weird for me seeing people not know how to handle criticism, because I'm like, y'all have never been told you've accidentally offended someone? Like, y'all have never been told your opinion came off problematic and you need to adjust? Like, what the fuck? What the fuck is a white savior complex? So the white savior complex is, no, it's not like you can't take criticism. It's like you think like you are, it would be like if I was like, well, I'm a really good white person. Like I know white people are bad, but like I'm not. Like, I'm very educated. I always do the right thing. And also it can also be like, say that I'm posting, I knew a girl, not me. Like, I said that I'm posting. I knew a girl that was in an MLM, and she kept posting all of these people of color from other countries that she doesn't even know where they're from, mind you. And she was like, at doTERRA, we give back to poor people. And then she would just post people who were of color, but they didn't look poor. And it was giving very much like, oh, a white person needs to save them. A white person needs to step in and help these poor people of color. Let me look up the definition of white savior, though, because it has so many, like, nuances and meanings. So the white savior complex is a modern term for paternalistic mindset where a privileged white person or group provides help to black people, indigenous people, or people of color. But the aid is often driven by self-serving motives, the need for validation, or to be told that you're a good white person. You're totally right, Kaylee. People with white savior complex do tend to talk over people of color as well. It's very important to understand your position. Yes, exactly. So I think a lot of my frustration is coming from exactly what Kaylee said earlier. It's the response. So I don't think that Drew has handled the backlash well whatsoever. And it's really disappointing to see. And it's also making her come off unlikable and almost problematic. And then, so like, that sucks. And I just don't, I feel like this is why the left never wins things. Because we just all keep fighting with each other. Yeah, it's for their benefit, yes. So yeah, anyway, I just think it's really upsetting because now trans women are taking the fall for this. Trans women are getting dragged in multiple ways when they weren't even in the room for the discussion. So now it's become a conversation of women being upset because Drew's calling them a TERF if they disagree with her, with the statement that someone made on her podcast. I also don't know why Drew can't just say, like, it wasn't even my thought and I agreed with it, because in the moment I was trying to like really, I don't know, be a better ally, but I can absolutely see that I didn't do that. Like that I just uplifted someone in the wrong way, and I need to like think about these things further. Like, I just think since the words didn't originally come out of her mouth, she didn't actually need to be as pissed off or like as reactive as she is, and it's making it worse for her and the entire situation. TS Madison also has come forward and said like she doesn't appreciate that Drew is using her as like a token trans friend because she's never even met her. The first time they spoke was when Drew was responding to her criticism like 2 days ago. I've also read a story about a person from an Amazon tribe, the way they describe the white people as sky people, as if they don't know how to walk the earth because they're so disconnected from the earth. Oh, wow. The plot is literally nowhere to be found. People are painfully performative these days. I fully agree. And then when they get exposed, they get really, really mad. And I'm just like, guys, no one is perfect. We're gonna fuck up. If you fuck up, listen, learn, and then be like, I'm so fucking sorry. It wasn't my intention, but my impact did hurt people, and intention is greater than impact. And I don't know, because when I first saw this discourse, I was like, oh wow, I remember that podcast episode, and I remember thinking it was silly. I wasn't necessarily offended because I was like, I just don't really agree. But not because I think trans women versus cis women are anything like at all in that way. I just literally was like, I think it's just different. But then when I saw the backlash and then the response from it, I got genuinely like frustrated because I was like, okay, this could have been literally solved so quickly by being like, I was wrong. I shouldn't have uplifted what this fucking person said. And instead it's turned into, they're a great person. You're all hateful toward them. You're TERFs. And man, all this to defend this white person who gives me terrible vibes. And I'm just mean terrible. I'm sorry, but like this Fightmaster person, do y'all not have discernment? There's a thing. You don't need to like know. You do not need to know like every single thing about someone to be like, you know what? Your vibe is fucking weird. Your vibe is fucking off. This Fightmaster person, from just the podcast alone, not even the backlash and their response to it, from the podcast alone, I was like, disgusting energy. Just not good energy. Just not anybody that I would personally want to be around. They kind of made my skin crawl. Has nothing to do with them being non-binary. Has everything to do with them being white. I'm just kidding. It's just their energy. And also, mind you, no one in this room is a trans woman. It's a cis woman and a non-binary person speaking for trans people and basically infantilizing them, and like also not even just infantilizing them, but like othering them, like as this magical, like, well, trans women, they're not even people. They're just this other beautiful, majestic group that's non-human, is very much the undertone that it's giving. And I don't like that either, because that's the same thing as when white people are like, oh, well, you know, you're just a very beautiful black person. Your skin is just very beautiful because you're black and beautiful. And it's just where it gets too far and it's almost like, it's giving get out. It's giving get out. Why? Your question is, why were they even talking about trans women without them? I wish I knew. And I wish I knew. And don't get me wrong. If we bring up trans people in our chat, we're usually like, leave the trans people alone. They just want to live. God damn it. Like, it's not bad to speak about them, but to speak for them, strange. Very strange. And to when you're getting that feedback from your audience, to then get like pissy about it and be like, well, you're all TERFs. I don't like that either. I just don't like where this entire conversation has gone and how it's now turned into like everyone is against each other, because I always thought that the people involved, specifically Drew, I just always saw her as somebody who I thought was able to like, I don't know, like kind of be a pillar for learning and growing and allyship. And it's kind of giving not that right now. Yeah, I totally agree, Kat, about the common theme is the social issues and people who are not affected by them making decisions for the people who are. Same shit. Yeah, why are they even talking about? Absolutely. And like that's what I think is like the backlash from it especially is what's so divisive. Just say, "Yeah, I fucking misspoke," or she didn't say it, but like I agreed and hyped up and platformed the wrong bitch. Sorry. Sorry, I don't know if this is a hot take, but I don't like how trans men get ignored in the trans people conversations. No, period. Period. Honestly, I think trans men get lumped sometimes into just the group of men, and that's why, because in that conversation, should they have brought up trans people in general? No. But notice how they didn't bring up trans men. You're completely right. So that's a really good point as well. And that's what like that's what also kind of bothered me about this whole thing as well. Is I was just like, it just feels like we're talking about trans people like they're not people. Like they're like a magical thing. Like they are this like entity that's not human. Trans men are chronically underrepresented. I totally believe that. I totally believe that. Double-edged sword, yeah. You're so right. Trans men get looped with cis men, but then there's constantly separation between trans women and cis women. How interesting. That is really interesting. I wonder, I'm sure there's many, I'm sure it's a very like layered thing. Until they get into a women's bathroom, real. Yeah, I just feel like as a trans man, I don't think it would be productive to add my voice TBH in this context with Drew. I'm still not a trans woman. That I can agree with. I kind of thought that Kaylee was just talking about in general trans conversations never seem to include men, trans men. But I do agree, Mixed Stomp Chomp. Yeah, as a trans man, you could stay out of this one. And that's a great example. Mixed Stomp Chomp 420 could probably give lessons on how if you're not part of a certain demographic, don't speak on them. Oops, forgot to turn this on. Okay. I'm gonna take a hit. I need a fucking hit. We've been going for almost 40 minutes and I haven't taken a hit yet. I avoid public bathrooms at all costs. That makes sense, Javen. Stepping up and stepping back, for real, for real. But yeah, so that's just been really like frustrating me these past few days is seeing this discourse online. Because many of my favorite content creators in the queer community have come out to give their opinion about it and how it's affecting them. A lot of trans women I follow are talking about how it's affecting them. And I'm not seeing any progress. It just feels like they're all just like fighting with each other. And it breaks my heart because it basically feels like two people who are not trans women started something, stirred it up, and now trans women are paying the price as if they're not already always doing that. And they think it would have been easier resolved had Drew come forward and apologized and not tried to keep doubling down. We love you, Mixed Stomp Chomp 420. Where's my... Baby, can you push this up more? Let's see. What does it say? Thank you, baby. That's already better. I think it has stoppers. It has stoppers. Oh. Oh, well, thank you. What did Rainbow say? Trans men or women, every person who is a good person deserves a voice, rights, respect, and freedom. Period. Period. But no, it was just really funny because I was talking to my husband about it. And I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just all that practice from being white. But if I get told that I might have, that I perhaps should check myself in something that I said, my first instinct is not to start a fight. My first instinct is not to argue about it. My first instinct, as a white person at least, is to be like, oh shit, all right, let me reflect, and I do apologize. So I just am like, it's very interesting to see how this is handled, because I'm like, y'all not used to white guilt, obviously. Y'all not used to white guilt. Oh, how's it taste? Not fun, always getting shit wrong. Just kidding. All that white practice, all this time being white has really helped me just, yeah, I'm the first, like Kaylee said, I'm the first one to think I'm wrong. Like, if someone were to be like, bitch, you just fucked up, I'm like, where? Tell me, we'll kill it right now, we'll fix it. So yeah, it's just been a little bit funny because I was laughing with Isaiah and I was like, some people need to experience white guilt a little bit more. You get a little bit better at handling criticism when it's just like, once you've accepted, and this isn't for everybody. For white people though, once you accept that it is just in your nature to get shit very wrong about how life is, especially when we're dealing with race, because of how we are programmed and how the world treats us versus people of color. It doesn't mean I'm an evil bitch. It literally means that's just how the shit is set up. Once you like accept that, it gets really easy to be wrong. Like, it's really easy to accept when you're wrong because you're like, okay, I'm not gonna like take it to heart and think I have to kill myself now. I'm going to realize I have gotten it wrong and I can fix it and I must fix it. Because also when we cry over it, like the whole white tears thing, people don't like that either, right? So when I see Drew Afualo crying on her podcast and saying, and she's like sobbing, talking about like trans women and how they experience like it's more beautiful for them, and she's sobbing over it and she's sobbing saying, well, they have to cling to femininity and hold on to something beautiful or whatever. It's making me cringe. It's making me cringe because I was like, oh girl, white people do that too. It's called white tears. Different situation, different circumstances. But girl, that's not the best response. I claim my white half when it comes to those chili margs. You're hilarious. She really was just doubling down and not even reading or listening. Comprehension to respond and calling everyone who didn't agree transphobic, even when it was trans women talking. Yeah, and I did see a trans woman respond and say like, I am a trans woman and I think that this creates a lot of division and something else. And then she responded and said, I'm talking about trans women, and then cis women like you make it about yourself. And then the person was like, I'm a trans woman. And then Drew goes, okay, and? What do you mean, okay, and? Listen to the voices that are telling, not even just that. TS Madison is getting a lot of backlash for being tagged in Drew's post because Drew said that they were friends and that they talked, and that's not how that happened. And TS Madison came forward and said, we are not friends, and that's not how that happened. And now she's getting a lot of backlash when she's like, I actually came on here to critique this bitch. She responded, so I responded as well, and now she's acting like we're besties. Yeah. Hello? Oh, people need to spend a little time offline. People have to get more comfortable with taking accountability. Holy shit. Yes, I agree. And it doesn't mean like we're evil. Like, if you fuck up, doesn't mean your intentions were evil. It means you just have to learn more still. You just still have to learn more. As long as, again, well, as long as your intentions weren't evil. But for a lot of us, they're not. And I'm not fucking perfect. Like, I had to learn a lot of stuff. Like that's normal. I'm a white person. Of course I've had to learn shit, unlearn as well. So, yeah. That was just my funny little commentary, though, was I was like, damn, you can tell none of these people are white, because they do not seem used to this. Because as a big fat whitey, as we call ourselves, I'm used to getting it wrong and having to say sorry. So I'm like, girl, you could have just done that. You could have just been like, oh man, I got it wrong. That sucks. I didn't mean to. Let me apologize. Yeah, that's the comment I was talking about. And then someone said she ended up blocking the trans woman. That's ridiculous. She blocked her? So you're silencing trans voices now? That's not right. Not right. Take deep breaths, apologize, and keep it pushing, homies. Exactly. Exactly. White and trying. Wait, that I have to I need that on something. I need white and trying on something. A shirt, a phone case. I don't know. That's the funniest thing ever. Did I surprise any of you in the chat? Javen Rising Phoenix. Did you surprise me? No, but I was talking. Sorry. All right. We'll take another hit. Whoops. But yeah, so I feel like online is really gross right now. I don't like it. I don't like where it's going. I also do think there is such a thing as going so far left that you end up going right. You know what I mean? Or so far right you end up left. I do think that's a thing too, and I do think that we should be mindful of that during these conversations, because when we start to say trans women are more beautiful than cis women, or they have a more beautiful understanding, or whatever the fuck, we are also, even if you are trying to be an ally, you are shitting on cis women. Now, I will say, it's really annoying, in my opinion, when people are like, don't call me cis. That's been a huge thing from this conversation. People are like, I'm not a cis woman, I'm a woman. Okay. I just feel like that's kind of, to me, like saying I'm not a grown woman, I'm a woman. I'm not an adult woman, I'm a woman. And it's like, okay, yeah. I just shared in the chat that I'm a trans man, Danny. Javen, I did not know that you were trans. Oh my God. Surprised in a fun way, I guess. But nice, yeah. I just don't think you've ever really mentioned it. So maybe that's why, but hell yeah. Why are we mad about being cis? I don't fucking know. Hello, hello. Thank you for being here, Captain Mastiff. And at the crux of it, Drew and her guest sounded weird using more beautiful. It sounded very idealistic and othering, like trans women aren't individuals with their own personal experiences. Brooke, exactly. Brooke, you nailed it. Extremely othering. It literally made me feel like they were trying to say trans women are these little goddess fairies that aren't human, that don't have normal human experiences. And I was in my head, I was I don't want to speak for trans women, but I feel like they experience a lot of violence. I just don't know if that's accurate, but I fully pass, so I rarely talk about it. Oh, I got you. Okay. I know we do have so many trans baddies in the chat. I love it. Yeah, one of my buddies, he's trans, and he fully passes to the point where we were at work selling vaginal THC suppositories to people. And when I told the girl, Yeah, and if I were you, I'd put it in the freezer, because when you just go put it straight in, because we just keep it out on the floor, not in the freezer. But if you put it straight in and it was room temperature, it'll melt and come right out. So wait, I didn't say freezer. I said lay down after you put it in so it doesn't come right out. And then he jumps in and goes, or you could just put it in the freezer. That's what I do. Okay, this is loud as shit. Hold on. I can't close it. Are you guys super, super bothered? I'll hold it and it'll be better. Sorry, I hope that it's not super, super, super horrible, that you can hear the... Anyway. Anyway, so my friend goes, or you could just put it in the freezer. That's what I do. I looked at him. I was like, that's a great idea. And then I had a little smirk the rest of the day because I said, ooh, he a freak. He just told that guest he puts it in his ass. And the rest of the day I was giggling, right? I get home, I'm telling my husband, I was like, my coworker said some wild shit. He puts the suppositories in his ass. He didn't say that, but that's what I thought was happening. I get home, I go to his Instagram to show my husband who I'm talking about. Yeah, he's got his trans visibility shit all over his page. I was like, oh, my bad. My bad. Hey, looking good. It was very funny. And I did tell him that as we got closer. I was like, I gotta tell you something. He was dying. He was like, you thought I was just out here telling this lady, like, you can put it in your butt too. Whatever you want. I was like, yeah, I thought that was cool. I was like, fuck yeah, put it wherever you want. I didn't know. Shit. I didn't know. But yeah, anyway, the internet is like crazy right now. All of the stuff with the trans women debate. Again, I'm more upset that it has turned into a conversation like slightly attacking trans women, because they weren't even involved to begin with. Not a single trans woman was present for that conversation or involved in it. So that sucks. Also, I feel like online in general, it's becoming more and more of that, like, everyone is being purposely obtuse as to what we're trying to say. It's like we can't even have, like, a conversation to, like, people aren't listening to, like, learn or understand and find a solution. They're listening to, like, not even just get a point across. They're listening to have a chance to humiliate you, call you stupid, shit like that. I just know trans are not a new race, correct? A new race, no. Trans people are just, they identify with a gender that's not what they were assigned with at birth. So, like, if they were born a male, then they transition to female. But the race doesn't have anything to do with it. Unless I don't know what the word race means. I hate when things like this happen because the actual TERFs get all loud and excited. That's exactly what I mean. It's creating so much division and so many more issues for the trans community that I'm just like, this is some bullshit. And all because a bunch of us leftists who are supposed to be pillars in the community can't get our shit together and just admit when we're wrong. Oh my God, I'm so glad you brought up the Jules LeBron thing. Okay. I have a lot of feelings about Jules LeBron because personally, I don't give a fuck that Jules was asking for money because Jules has never come off wealthy. Jules is like, oh, I bought my parents like a house and I paid off whatever. Yeah, and then Jules hasn't had those same amount of brand deals and stuff since then, and then they had to get sober. They're also a trans person. They grew up in poverty. As someone who grew up poor as fuck on food stamps, I'm telling you right now, I don't know how to handle money either. My husband takes care of our bills and, like, handles, like, what goes in savings and what doesn't, because I'm not fucking good at that. So I'm not really, like, overly mad that Jules was, like, having, like, a GoFundMe. I don't love GoFundMe, but I also was like, I'm not going to donate. I could, but I won't be. I'm not going to donate. I don't think anyone who can't donate should be, but I had a feeling that brands would hopefully reach out and, like, want to, like, assist, and then that would be fine. Now, do I still think a big creator with access to all that shouldn't have a GoFundMe? Yeah, I can absolutely see that argument. But I'm just saying as well, the whole argument of, well, she should just get a job. You don't even get dental care at most jobs. And the ones you do, you have to be there for like 6 months. And she's trying to get her surgeries soon. So I'm just like, I don't think it's that deep. I honestly think it's like getting mad at somebody for asking for help. And okay, sure, maybe they went about it the wrong way, but at the end of the day, it's somebody who needs help asking for help. I'm just not that mad because Jules LeBron is not some like bougie, rich, privileged, like what, like nasty influencer, you know? Also, this economy is shit. Literally. Me neither. And she literally said she was in addiction and was embarrassed to ask for money online. Either donate or don't, but there's no reason to be cruel. Exactly. I'm just like, I don't think it's that fucking serious, guys. Like, I know so many people who aren't influencers that make GoFundMes and ask for money, and they're pieces of shit. And they just like, they don't even try to get a job. They don't even try to do anything. Some of them do bad stuff. Like, and nobody's out here jumping them. I agree. I don't really think she did it the wrong way. It is an excuse for transphobia and white supremacy. What I'm actually pissed about is living in a country where necessary dental care can cost you $45K out of pocket. What the fuck? Exactly! Thank you. I'm just like, if anyone has ever watched Jules LeBron, then they know she's not like this privileged influencer that comes from money and opportunities and shit like that. Like, I just was very like confused, and people are like, well, then she can sell her doll collection if she wants. Okay, why are we being cruel? She has gone on about how much her doll collection means to her, and it's a collectible thing. That's like being like, just sell everything in your house to take care of your teeth. It's like, well, bitch, I still want to have a happy life. I'll probably just have to get dentures then and keep my dolls. Like, I just don't really think it's, I don't know. I just didn't give a fuck about Jules asking for money. I saw it. I felt bad for her. I thought, well, I'm certainly not donating, but I hope you get the help you need. And then I kept it pushing. And I didn't not donate because I'm anti-Jules LeBron. I actually love Jules LeBron. I don't give a fuck. And people are like, well, I heard she's, like, her addiction is back, or she's, like, an active addiction again. People are allowed to not be perfect and go through things. I love Trixie and Katya. Katya is always relapsing. No one's perfect. It's fucking fine. I'm not going to judge somebody for an illness or, like, something that they're, like, working through if they're not a piece of shit. You know what I mean? I don't know why we were attacking this woman because she asked for help. And she even said, by the way, you don't have to. By the way, you don't have to help me. I feel embarrassed. But if you want to and you can, it would be cool. You ate with that, Kaylee. Kaylee said it's so stupid to me that people will say, well, just sell all of your happiness to pay for your necessities. Like, no, bitch, necessities should be free. Yeah. See, and that's what I just feel like everyone online wants to purposely misunderstand each other and purposely take things the wrong way. Someone comes online sobbing, apologizing, saying, you know, they were in active addiction and now they've fucked themselves up and they could really use some help. And the first thing people think to do is be transphobic and call them a loser and call them a bunch of names and shit on them and make, like, bitch, I'm not about to make my financial struggles Jules LeBron's problem. They're like, well, I couldn't get my dentist appointment last month, so fuck you. Okay. Did you ever think about the fact that Jules doesn't know you? So this has nothing to do with her, that you couldn't do that. Just like you don't know Jules. So Jules' issues have nothing to do with you, and you don't have to help her. No, you're completely right, Brooke, about isn't that what addiction is? It's a lifelong thing. People can relapse. They often do, yeah. Exactly. Katya relapses frequently, you know? And then she gets her shit together. I just want the best for everybody. And also, again, if you're not being a piece of shit, it's different. You are allowed to struggle and go through things. That's a great point, Jasmine, having when people like shit on addicts. Because it's very, yeah, it's just like very, you're born an addict, you know what I mean? So if you're lucky enough that it never either gets triggered or you never get introduced to the substance, then that's awesome. But not everyone's life is like that. And also, I firmly believe not every addict is built the same. Just because someone's an addict does not automatically make them a piece of shit. You can be an addict and a great person and just be struggling. Not every person who's an addict is abusive, dangerous, harmful, lazy. Like, a lot of people who are in addiction are just good people trying their fucking best. Also, I hate when people make fun of homeless people, especially when homeless people are addicts, because the way our healthcare system is set up, no, you cannot afford actual treatment from a doctor. A prescription monthly medication, $500 plus for a lot of these. But something you can just buy on the street that'll quiet the mean voices in your head, $15. People aren't getting high because they're like, my life is fantastic. I would love to make it not fantastic. Most of us we have so much bullshit going on in here. We're trying to quiet the nonsense happening. We're trying to quiet what's holding us back and hurting us. There's ways that you can go get it from a doctor, and then if you can't, some people take it into their own hands. The system is fucked. Are we talking about the transphobic circular argument happening on TikTok? Yes, we are. We're talking about all of it, yes. About like the Drew Afualo interview with Fightmaster, and then how it is turned into people just being super transphobic and just it's not being handled well. Addiction is also very much tied to systemic oppression. Trans and queer people of color are more likely to fall into addiction because of environmental factors, addiction in family, no access to care, etc. Absolutely. Absolutely. Same thing with people who are impoverished. Hi, Austie. I agree. Weed is not a drug. I'm going to take another hit. But, yeah. I just feel like the internet has been really volatile recently. And it makes me sad to see. And it makes me sad to see people that I like or have supported getting involved in nastiness, being nasty back. Why is weed not a drug? It's medicine. Very medicinal. That's its original intended use. The cannabis plant. You said, oh, that's a good point, Kat, about weed was called a gateway drug because you could only get it through dealers since it was illegal, and then the dealers have other drugs too. That's a really great point. Exactly. My mom had a pill addiction. My mom was in a car accident, and they gave her, I don't know, some kind of narcotic, and then they didn't give her any way to like refill it or wean off of it, so she started taking my dad's cancer medicine. He didn't have cancer anymore. He just had hella medicine. What's your take on what? Yeah, see, because like with my mom was genuinely given it by her doctor, and then but they didn't give her refills, and there was no way to wean her off of it. So then she like started to feel really sick and crazy. So then she just would take my dad's medicine for like a long time until it became like a big problem, obviously, and you know, she had to stop and go get some help. And now she's good. And she only did that like my mom genuinely had a very brief addiction. And within a year, she got it together. And I'm very proud of her for that. Like, she's an icon for that. However, just because my mom was able to get out of it, she had a lot of other circumstances going on, I think. That's not the case for everybody. What's my take on the Drew situation? My take is mostly that I'm really upset about how trans women are now the target of this when they weren't even present for the fucking conversation. That just like, and my other take is I really always have really liked Drew Afualo. When I saw the interview originally a year ago, because it was reposted on YouTube recently, but it's an old interview. When I saw it the original time, I remember barely paying attention to it and just thinking, I don't like this Fightmaster person. They just have horrible vibes, in my opinion. I think that they just are like snaky, evil. The same way I feel about, there's one person, I don't know if you guys love her though. Her name's like Shannon Beavers or something. She gives me bad vibes too. But I don't know, I just had very sinister vibes from this person, so I didn't really like anything they were saying. But when that part of the conversation came up, I literally was like, oh, okay, I guess I don't agree with it, but I guess like it's just a different type of beautiful, maybe. My real issue is with how the backlash was handled. I just don't love how Drew was handling. I don't like that Drew was calling everyone TERFs if they disagree, especially when so many black trans women disagree. I don't really like that Drew has made trans women a target, not once, but like with the original conversation around this, but now twice with TS Madison, specifically tagging TS Madison in her post and saying like, that's my girl, we talked, when TS Madison is like, I don't know you. You were commenting under my post over and over and over, and I was making video responses to you, and then I did DM you something real quick, but we've never spoke. I don't know you, you're not my friend. And now I'm getting hate because people are thinking that I'm like co-signing your bullshit. And I'm like, if trans women are telling you that you're hurting them, you should back off. But also, I don't think that this Fightmaster person knows what the fuck they're talking about when they said a trans woman's experience is more beautiful. Because don't trans women experience a great deal of violence? It's not women, cisgender women experience a great deal of violence as well, in different ways and in similar ways. But then trans women experience it in very different ways as well, in ways that like we can't understand. I think it's just different. I don't think one is more beautiful than the next, but what I don't like is when we speak about it like, oh, well, like, because this Fightmaster person keeps saying trans women have a more beautiful experience because it's more rooted in the love for femininity. Drew actually came out and said that as well, which I didn't like. In Drew's response, she was like, I'm not saying you have to believe. I'm saying I personally believe trans women have a more beautiful understanding of femininity than I do, because she was like, but then she's like crying and sobbing on her podcast, and she's like on her podcast with her sister that just came out a couple days ago, where she's like, but you guys don't get it. It's like trans women, like they're clinging on to the beauty of femininity. And I'm just like, why are you talking about them like they're this like anomaly, like they're this othering like little fairy that's not human? Like, you're speaking for someone who you're not a part of their group, and it's not your experience, and you're making it sound fetishy and weird almost, you know? And like, why are we even saying more or better at all? It's just different. And like, trans women are saying, look what you've done, you've now made people mad at us and made it like we're doing something. Okay, funny you say this. Funny you say this. Hi, Daphne. Funny you say this, Lauren. You just said, I'm sorry, but I feel like she deals with controversy in a very white feminism way. We were just talking about the white aspect of it, because I, as a white person, was like, I don't know, she's kind of coming off like she just doesn't deal, I guess she doesn't have to deal with white guilt as often, so she's not used to being told, oh, you said something wrong, you should probably take it back. As a white girly, I've gotten real comfortable knowing like, hey, white people, you need to look at things from a different perspective than what you might think it is. So I'm low-key used to that. So if someone tells me, like Kaylee and I earlier were talking about this, if someone were to be like, bitch, you're wrong, I believe you immediately before I even know what the evidence is, before you tell me what I did. If someone's like, bitch, you misspoke, I'm like, where? Show me. Show me. It was, so when she has the opposite reaction of that, I was just like, ooh, girl, I can tell you haven't had a lot of practice as a, well, she's not white, obviously, but I just mean as a white person, I do have a lot of practice having to sit with things, having to sit with, like, the way I think about things or that I might have been taught to think about things could be wrong. Something that I say or think could be, interpreted painfully by others, even if that's not what I fucking meant. 9 times out of 10, I'm wrong. Exactly. Like, I'm so used to being like, oh, I could have fucked up. Please help me. Educate me. You know what I mean? So I was just like really disappointed that that's not how she handled it. You said the white woman tears are kind of telling. I thought that too when she was sobbing in her podcast with her sister, and she was like, trans women are clinging to like this is all they have or some shit. I was like, ooh, please don't speak for them. Like crying over it is like very white savior vibes. As a white lady, that's what it was given. I can only speak on my experiences or things I personally know. I do agree, yeah, she is centering white feelings because she's centering Fightmaster versus all of the, and who Fightmaster is a white person and not a trans woman. I agree, she's not trying to see it from a different perspective. I agree. She's very like, you guys are misunderstanding me, and that's why you're TERFs. And I think what should be said is, that wasn't what I meant or intended, but like, I hear you and I'm sorry, and I, as an ally, I'll continue to learn and grow. Like, it was just, I don't know. I just felt like I could have written her an apology script. Like, I was like, oh girl, come on, you never said the wrong thing and had to be educated. I will say, Fightmaster, don't know you. Again, you could be God's gift to Earth. You could be sent from God's pussy herself. You give me bad vibes, bitch. I do think it's also very telling that Drew was only responding to this conversation in like really big words, like very like not therapy words, but like buzzwords, rather than like you guys were saying, hearing what people are trying to say. I couldn't believe TS Madison ate her up. I did not see that coming. That's what I was talking about earlier. Because why are you lying about you and TS Madison being girlies? That's not your girl. You don't know her. And now TS Madison she's taking like heat for that. I just looked up Fightmaster. The vibes are bad. LOLOL. The vibes are bad, right? The vibes are like very weird. There's this, yeah, it's just like an energy. I don't know. It's just a vibe about them. They do not have good vibes. You're right. But no, TS Madison, I actually just discovered TS Madison's TikTok, like, through all this, actually. And I'm invested. I'm obsessed. Also, she just got married, like, today? Question mark? Or she just posted something about, like, her wedding makeup today? I don't know. But she has been getting a lot of pushback from Drew tagging her and saying, like, oh, yeah, she talked to me and she, like, we're good. Everything, like, you know what? Using her. It's like when a white person goes, I'm not racist. I have black friends. Well, you think I'm racist, but my black friend says I'm not. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's kind of giving that energy. And it's giving she's not listening to other people. Also, I don't like that she is reposting men who are known misogynists, abusers, women haters, and I think she knows who they are too, but because they're agreeing with her, I think she's just like reposting it. But we mustn't go back on our morals just to prove a point. Who is T.S. Madison? She's a doctor. She's a trans woman, a black woman. And I don't know much else about her other than that. Apparently she's so funny. Yeah, Drew was reposting. Let me see if I can pull it up. There's a guy. I can't pull it up because I don't have TikTok on here, but there's some guy, he makes TikTok videos where he teaches men how to like manipulate women, and he like shits on women, and I guess she's made videos shitting on him before, but he made a video being like, you guys are all TERFs for not understanding what Drew is saying, and you guys just like hate trans people and da 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 da. It was very weird. It was very weird. I didn't even watch his whole thing because I don't like him. But I saw she reposted it, and I was like, and she commented on it and was like, thank you. And I was like, girl, you've made videos shitting on him because he makes videos of how to manipulate women. But because in this moment, I don't know. I thought that was weird. I thought it was really rude how a trans woman commented and said, as a trans woman, I don't appreciate being pitted against cis women. I don't think it helps us at all as women as a whole. And then Drew responded with something that was like, I'm trying to defend trans women and you're over here making it, like cis women are over here making it about themselves, like you. And then the person responds, I am a trans woman. And then Drew goes, okay, question mark, and? What do you mean? What do you mean and? That's kind of the whole point. Oh, is Fightmaster the same person who was like low-key shitting on Renee Rapp and saying like one day she might settle down with a dude or something weird? Ew. Really? Who says shit like that? Definitely an edible arrangement. No breaks or breaks. What does this mean, baby? I think that was Betty Who. I don't like Betty Who. But everyone fucking loves her. Betty Who also has nasty vibes. Oh, okay, so it was like Betty talking to ER. Okay. That makes sense. Well, Betty Who also pretended to be a lesbian for literally just for like clout and a brand. So I'm not really a fan. Stand up and dancing. I can't stand Betty Who, right? Ugh. It's frustrating when you get disappointed by people who you've like, you know, were a fan of. I gotta be honest though, I don't always agree with Drew's takes anyway. Drew is a Chappell Roan apologist and thinks Chappell Roan can do no wrong. And I am an avid Chappell Roan hater. I don't know if hater is the right word. Critic. I'm not familiar with Betty Who, but those comments were weird. You can just say I thought I was gay, but I think I'm actually bi or pan. No, exactly. Exactly. No, Kaylee, I feel like you get it. You were the first person to ever agree with, like, to ever, when I started saying this stuff about Chappell, like, you understood. She's extremely fucking performative. You're not going to sit there and tell me that you are an ally to your entire brand. You are dressed as a drag queen. Your entire brand is you dressing as a drag queen. So then, when the election comes, mind you, everybody's like, no, she's from Tennessee. She's literally from Missouri. She even said in an interview, she just says Tennessee in one of her songs because it sounded better than Missouri. She's literally from Missouri, and all of her family runs the entire Missouri government. They're all Republicans. They all hate trans people. They don't like gay people. She loves them. She's this fucking close with them. She doesn't ever bring that up. She never seems to mention that. And then when the election comes around, she Miss, I'm an ally, I'm an ally, I'm an ally, talking about some, her name is Kamala. Like, it's a comma, la. So if you're still saying Kamala, that tells me, one, you're listening to people who say that. You're obsessed with people who, like, refer to say a black woman's name correctly. So you're probably, like, hanging out with people who watch Fox News and that kind of thing. Or you haven't even bothered to learn how to say her name, again, because you're not a fucking ally. Because you're not a fucking ally. So you're going to say that not only are you going to mispronounce Kamala's name over and over, which is a microaggression, and if you're actually an ally, then you fucking know that. Also, she, in that same fucking thing, was talking about how Kamala is equally as bad as Trump. They're exactly the same. Fuck you, you know that's not the same. And then when you refuse to, like, say, oh, you know, I would rather vote for Kamala, or that's who I would endorse, or whatever the fuck, when you say they're equally as bad, and then Trump wins, and then immediately trans people get their ability to have their trans identity on their IDs and passports revoked, you stand up there on a stage and say, I want to talk about healthcare. Thank you for this award, and I want to shout out healthcare for artists like me, because when I was poor, bitch, you were never poor. Your family has owned this property, this massive land of property, for forever. Where you're from, you went to Grammy camp every single summer for many years. That's a multi-$1,000 camp that you go to. People have different ideas of poor. I think these bitches are playing in our face these days. If anyone tells me, like, oh, you know, I grew up poor, I didn't have a lot growing up, I'm like, let me see the receipts. I need pictures. I need to know what y'all were eating. Did you ever? Because guess what? I grew up on food stamps, and we did not take family vacations. And those are two things that when I hear people say, I grew up so poor, we were so poor. Oh my God, you've never had caviar? Oh my God, you've never been to Ibiza? Bitch, I've never been to South Carolina. Like, you bitches are lying. So, you know, exactly, these bitches are lying. So I just, like, she bothers me. She really bothers me, like, a lot. I also, her music is just not for me. I don't like that. It's nothing wrong with it. There's no problem with it. It's not problematic. There's nothing, like, ethically or morally fucked. That type of music reminds me of being in theater. When I know my degree is in theater. I went to theater school from the time I was, like, less than double digits all the way through college. But never once did I hang out with the theater kids outside of there for real. And I never listened to show tunes. And she reminds me of straight up show tunes. And she is, like, very white feminism to me. And also, do you want to be famous or not? Because I find it hard to believe that you get harassed on a daily basis more than any other fucking celebrity. No other celebrity. Obviously, if someone is being rude to you, assert your boundaries. Yeah, absolutely. That whole situation with, like, the little girl, like, looking at her to see if it was her, and then they're like, oh, the security guard yelled at her. I honestly believe that happened. I honestly do believe that happened, because Chapel is a bitch. She does yell at people. She does do shitty things. I've seen videos of her in an airport looking at someone and then pointing for her security to go, like, tell them from across the place to, like, leave her alone. Bitch, why do you travel with such little security then, if it's that big of an issue? Why are you going to places then where you know you're going to get ambushed? Because no other celebrity has such a hard time like this bitch seems to. I've seen one video of Anne Hathaway in Italy getting surrounded by fans, and she just keeps going, calma, calma, calma. But other than that, bitch, I don't know. Everyone is just trying to be relatable instead of creating art. Like, please just sing your songs. Literally. Also, why do these things not happen to Beyonce? Why do these things not happen to Taylor Swift? Who, fuck Taylor Swift, can't fucking stand that bitch. But I'm just trying to think of people who, like, are really, really, like, you know, big and, like, out there. These things aren't happening to them. This shit isn't happening to Sabrina Carpenter, someone in her age range and her kind of, like, social demographic kind of thing. Those things aren't happening to Sabrina Carpenter. Like, I do agree advocating that women in the spotlight do go through abuse, but I also, from the clip I saw where she cussed out someone who was a photographer, they showed the full, there's so many angles. Nobody was speaking to her. One photographer yelled at another photographer and said, "Get out of my fucking way." And no one was even like, he wasn't even looking at her. And she turns her head and is like, "No, you shut the fuck up," or whatever, when truly no one spoke to her. Or at least that man who she yelled at wasn't speaking to her. And I'm going to make an assumption. I'm going to make an assumption. This is alleged, but I am bipolar and I am medicated. I see a lot of similarities in that girl. For people like me when we don't have a handle on our shit. I see a lot of similarities. I'm not saying it's bipolar, but I'm like, girl, I don't think you're mentally fit for this shit. I think it has something to do with some weird bootstrap mentality. They want us to think they got out the mud. Please spare us. Which is so funny because I'm also like the first person to be like, I'm so grateful that I'm not poor anymore. All the credit goes to my husband. Like, all the credit goes to my husband. I'm not out here like, I mean, I've always worked very, very, very hard. I'm one of those people, though, who has worked many jobs my whole life just to get by. So it's not like you know what I mean? That makes a lot of sense that they want us to think they like pick themselves up by their bootstrap. But whereas me, I'm pretty honest about that shit. I'm like, baby, don't ever leave me. I like living this lifestyle. I'm very comfortable now. Please stay my husband. I agree, Kaylee, about like she seems like that type of white woman that wants to seem badass. And who set that system up? You're so funny. The gag is most of them were never actually poor before they were famous. Thank you. Thank you. And like, was my family poor? Yes. Is my family still poor in Cincinnati? Yes. They're not on food stamps anymore. But so good for them. Clap, clap, clap. But I will say, there were still people who were more poor than us. We had a house. We had a house to live in. I knew a lot of people that did not live in a house. They lived in an apartment, but it was like they were always moving apartments. So like, I don't know why people think it's a competition to see who can be more poor, because as somebody who did grow up poor, I didn't like it. No one I grew up with was like, you know how there's a shooting on our street every night? I love it. I hope I can raise my kids on this exact street in this neighborhood in Price Hill forever. That's everybody that I know that like came from poor areas. They're always like, I'm going to do better for my family. I'm going to get us out of here. We're going to get out of here. And then celebrities are always like really embracing this poverty image that's like, or they want you to like think that that's like, they really know that life and they don't know it. And it's like, it's nothing to brag about. My best friend told me when we were young, a rich man walked by. I forget what happened. I think he had a nice watch or some shit. And my friend said, "Nice watch." He said, "Well, thanks. It costs a lot of money. Probably more than your rent. We're kids. We don't know how much rent costs." We're like, "Yeah, probably." He looks at her and he goes, "Yeah, you know what they say though, more money, more problems." And my bitch, so funny, as a kid, she just goes, "Yeah, but I've been poor since I was born, so now I'd like a shot at the rich people problems, if I may. I would just like a shot at them." Oh, you're right, Lauren. You said a lot of white people like to cosplay oppression. That's actually extremely true. That's extremely true. Ever since I moved to California, that's been something that's on my mind a lot. Why would he say that to children? I don't fucking know. I don't know. It's funny though, because when I moved to my neighborhood now, I was working in a dispensary and this couple came in and they were like, "We're from Cincinnati." And I was like, "I'm from Cincinnati." And they were like, I was like, "What part are you guys from?" And they were like, "Hyde Park." And I said, "Oh, excuse me." Excuse me. I didn't realize I had wealthy people around me. They were like, "Where are you from?" I was like, "Price Hill." And they were like, "Oh, wow, well, good thing you're out here now." I was like, right. Yeah. But when I came out here, I met a bunch of white people because honestly, our neighborhood is mostly, there are a lot of like Mexican or Hispanic people here as well, but because it's California, but there's not a lot of black people on the Central Coast, specifically right where we are. And my nail tech, she's my best friend. She always jokes, and she's like, "So your husband and I are like the only black people on the Central Coast, and you managed to grab us both." But anyway, she is like, my nail tech agrees with this too. All of the people I met when I first moved here, a lot of them being white, obviously, love to say, "Oh, I'm from the ghetto," which where I'm from in Cincinnati, white people don't call it the ghetto because that has like racial undertones. We say like we're poor or we're from the hood maybe, but something about you're not supposed to, where I'm from, white people aren't supposed to be saying ghetto like that. Here in California, white people say that a lot. That's just what they call it. And they're like, so, oh yeah, like I'm from the ghetto. So then they take me to where that is. It's just Santa Maria. It's a beautiful house in Santa Maria. You know what's interesting about Santa Maria? People want to be like, see, it's so, like, it's just like so different here. Buildings are massive, streets are clean, streets are like the driving ways are super wide, the neighborhoods are clean, no trash in sight, no one's getting arrested. I'm not hearing gunshots. What's the problem? This is a fancy ass suburb. That Santa Maria looks like Hyde Park, Cincinnati, where I just said the rich people came from. When I came here and everybody tried to say, they're like, "Oh, you gotta come to my house, I'm from the ghetto." And then they took me to Santa Maria. I said, "Bitches, you wouldn't last a day in Price Hill." And my street wasn't even the worst. Where my mom worked was bad. I wasn't allowed to walk on that street, only drive. But still, like, my husband came to visit me. And he was like, "This is fucking gross. Like, I don't fucking like it here." So, yeah, I do agree with you. White people love to cosplay oppression, especially when they have none. It's so interesting. Yeah, the amount of bitches here, "Oh, I'm from the ghetto," and they take me to Santa Maria. I'm like, you're about to piss me off. You probably wouldn't even want to drive down my fucking street. I will forever tell the story of my college roommates. Poor ghetto beach town. No. See, no. Like, there's no buildings in Santa Maria that are boarded up, busted up, but people are still living in them. First of all, nothing's boarded and busted. And no one, if there was, no one was living in it. Beach town just pissed me off. That's what I always tell people here. I'm like, you're not from the hood, you're from the beach. Completely different. Just absolutely completely different. You're not from the projects. Like, just get it. Just like, these people don't know. It's actually like, I was very, before moving to California, I have always been like just very more like liberal, leftist. Once moving here, I got pissed off at how like the white people here are not enough like that. Because I'm obviously like, growing up in Cincinnati and then moving to New York for so long, I'm used to like normal people, like real ass normal people who just like get it. Not the people who are like, "No, I'm from the ghetto, it's Santa Maria." And then you go to their fucking house, it's like a suburban ass, and everyone's grass is mowed with designs in it. Fuck you. Just pissed me off. Yeah, but I don't know. That kind of makes me think like, hi, Jocelyn, thanks for being here. I hope that as I continue to like progress in my life and hopefully with this channel and my age and everything, I hope that I never get to a place where I'm so fucking out of touch and tone deaf that I forget where I came from. But I don't think that will happen. Surrounding yourself with trans people does not make you woke. No, like literally. Also, have you guys seen the video of her being disrespectful on the red carpet to her assistant, who's a black woman? I don't think it's her assistant. I think she was her assistant for that carpet. I think she was just like, "Oh, I'll be assisting you," kind of thing for this. But yeah, there's a video of she has this black woman helping her on the carpet. And she's like, this woman's like working. And Chapel like kind of like get away and then like goes right in front of her. And then they're like, somebody says, well, from the back angle, it didn't look like that. Cool. From the front, side, and center, it did. And the look on the assistant's face. The look on the assistant's face, too, was like she was like very disrespected and like caught off guard by Chapel being a bitch. I wouldn't be caught off guard. Except everybody tells me I look like Chapel Roan. And I don't think she's ugly, so I always say thank you. But I've never, up until like whenever on this chat, whenever I told Kaylee and I, like when we first had this talk, like weeks or maybe months ago, about me not really liking Chapel, that was the first time I ever brought it up, because every other time people would be like, oh my God, you kind of look like Chapel Roan. I would be like, oh, thank you. And then in my head, I would be like, I didn't see her present the Grammys at all, so I don't really know what happened, but I'm not surprised. Olivia Dean also is like a very natural talent without all the extra effects and aesthetics. So I'm sure Chapel's like, you're not even a performer. And it's like, you're cosplaying a drag queen. You're not even original, Chapel. Also, her grandfather is apparently a known racist, and Chapel Roan is named after her grandfather. And she's super close with her racist, conservative, anti-trans family, who's trying to ban drag shows in Missouri. It was very much Here Damn vibes. Damn it. Oh, don't you hate that shit? Chapel, why couldn't you just be respectful for the awards? My best friend is on Broadway. One of my best friends that's on Broadway is who I'm talking about. She doesn't really like Chapel either, just because she was like, oh, her music's kind of cute, but she seems like really ungrateful to be where she is. And it's not easy to be where she is. You have to try, and Chapel did try very hard. Grammy camp every summer. Sorry, you tried. You wanted fame. But it feels like you don't really want to be there. And my best friend is always like, if she doesn't want it, please give it to me. I'm working my ass off over here. I would love more recognition. Like, if she doesn't want all the fame and attention, give it to me. Damn, that is crazy. That she would like, I'm not surprised though. I think people like her bitchy attitude though, which I don't get. And I'm not saying that like women need to be nice. I just think she's not likable. But that is very much an unpopular opinion, because every single person, aside from this chat, which is why I love you guys, that I've ever encountered, thinks Chapel can do no wrong. Aside from, like I said, my friend on Broadway when I was visiting her. And I was like, what's your opinion on Chapel Roan? She goes, I think she's very talented, but I don't think she wants to be famous. And that's fine. Give it to me if you're ungrateful. But yeah, it takes a lot of work to get where she is. So it's just like, I don't know why you're acting like you didn't want it. You wanted it. But obviously I don't condone harassment. Like, I don't want people to like harass her, but I just don't think that happens as much as she wants us to believe. If she ever saw this though, I guarantee it would be like clipped and then put on the internet as like, little random white girl with a chest tattoo is like making fun of Chapel Roan and saying she probably has never been harassed. And then Chapel Roan would respond and be like, when I was 5, something terrible happened at school and they harassed me and it's traumatized me ever since. And that's when it started. And I'm like, okay, bitch, I'm sorry. We've all been harassed. Only white women are allowed to be bitches. I have noticed that too. But it's like fucked up. That's so fucked up. Because like, even the white women who are bitches, half of them aren't even likable, so that's just bullshit. That's, like, obviously it's just racism. I will say, some people say Rihanna's a bitch. I don't want her to change. Stay a bitch. Apparently, on the red carpet, she has been around the Kardashians and looked at them in earshot where they could hear and said, ew, their bodies are fucking disgusting, like, they look crazy. And they got really upset about that. Here's the thing. You shouldn't body shame, but they didn't, like, build theirs. They bought theirs, and I don't like them. I think they harm every community to exist, so I don't really care anymore. So hearing Rihanna said that on the red carpet, and that they have since in interviews said how, like, oh, it really affected us. I'm like, why is Rihanna an icon for that? Like, why is that so funny? Oh my God. Oh my God. When when Chapel said, I have to write, sing, practice dances, and stay well informed, there's not enough time in the day. It made me want to, like, I promise you, her life is not harder than the average person's. Especially, she's not struggling more than the average person. I'm not saying she doesn't have struggles. I'm not saying her life's not hard. But yeah, for her to act like I have to sing songs and learn dances. Baby, if you can't really learn them that fast, I guess you're in the wrong fucking field. If you having to learn a goddamn dance and sing a song is why you can't be politically informed, I hate to break it to you, the political information outweighs the need to sing and dance. That clip of Chapel really solidified my opinion of her. Yeah. Literally bodies that were bought to imitate natural black women. And also the whole Kardashian family, they only like fuck with black men to like use them, and then they discard them, but every time they get discarded, something bad happens to them. Like, and I'm sorry, I know Ray J might not be the coolest person ever, but for everyone thought that he leaked that tape of her. Meanwhile, her mother wrote out a contract, and Kim and Ray J had to sign it. She wrote out 3 different ones, made them do 3 different tapes, and she watched and picked the one. Fucking gross, weird momager incest shit. And then the narrative for years has been that he leaked it for like to be like vengeful or some shit. And it's like, that man has a daughter. That's pretty fucked up. Like, they don't care what they do to black people. They don't give a fuck. So yeah, if Rihanna wants to shit on them and say that they're fucking disgusting, I'm going to giggle. I'm gonna giggle. Oh, I've noticed that too, Kaylee. Now they're all obsessed with like these skinny little white men. And it's giving literally like they go through these like phases, but it's like clearly for marketing. Like, and apparently Kendall is with what's his name? From like Euphoria and stuff. Oh, I can't think of his fucking name. But she's with that actor right now, which I just don't even understand how that works. But also I think Kylie Jenner and Timothée Chalamet, I think that's a very strange thing. However, I think Timothée Chalamet is disgusting. Jacob Elordi. Jacob Elordi and Kendall Jenner are together, they're official. And Kylie is with Timothy. I want y'all to notice something. These are both actors. Okay? Kylie's trying to get into acting. Kendall's trying to branch into it a little bit, but we know for a fact that Kylie has said, I want to get into acting. It's just all for marketing. But also I've noticed they're all getting their bodies smaller now because they're done trying to look black. They're not self-tanning as dark anymore. Sometimes they're dyeing their hair. Like Kim had her blonde hair moment for so fucking long, like that she like was insisting on doing, especially when Trump was like first elected. And she was doing those weird shoots, like American flag shoots in like the American flag bathing suit with a blonde wig. Kylie's getting like her BBL removed. Like they're like, oh, it's okay to be white now. We can be white now. It's safe now. We got what we needed from the black community. I think it's fucking weird. So I know we're not supposed to body shame, but I'm going to shame a surgery. None of them are exceptionally talented. No, I wouldn't even say any of them are mildly talented. I would say everyone's so creative. If you know that reference, then you know that reference. No more braids, reduced BBLs, less fake tan. Yeah, they're like, well, we're white again. Now it's fine to be. Also, the whole like Ozempic thing, they're trying to get rid of their BBLs because they're like, oh my God, this doesn't match the Ozempic thing. It's like, okay, bitch. They do so much harm to every community. Like, they also just do so much harm to women. And then they have the audacity to be like, people are so judgmental of how we look, and they make us so insecure. And who set that system up? And who set that system up? You bitches. I don't care what anyone says. Obviously, the patriarchy existed long before the Kardashians. Long before. They have done the most damage to women. They, as women, have done the most damage to women. Body image, in my opinion. Dude, I agree with you about, I thought at first he was like really into his craft, but then he does try way too hard, and I'm sorry, but like, as somebody who, okay, so I went to an art school from 6th grade through high school through college. My degree is in acting and musical theater, but when I was growing up, my majors were always ballet and acting. So as someone who's done ballet their entire life, when he said no one is going to see the ballet and it's like a dying art, and I would rather be like, whatever, ballet is the oldest art form. That's like one of the oldest. It's so much older than film and TV, so I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's older than acting, because before there were word acting, they did pantomime, which originated in ballet. It came up at the exact time as ballet, because in ballet, in the original ballets, not so much all the time now because dance has evolved so much. When ballet first started, half of it was just pantomime. So it would be them holding a pose and then being like do 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 do, because it was fucking pantomime. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Also, his mom and his grandma and his sister are all ballerinas. I think he probably just has mommy issues. He went to LaGuardia in New York City high school, and his high school put out a statement that they were really offended by his commentary and that he should know better. And so I thought that was weird, to shit on another art form because you so badly are like, well, I want to be one of the greats. I don't want to be in ballet. That's dying. It's boring. And it's like, Timothy, you look like a malnourished little European boy. What are you talking about? You don't get to have loud opinions. Are you even 5 feet tall? Like, until you look like you are not on your deathbed, I don't want to hear a word from you, Mr. Ariana Grande. Sorry, that was fucked up. That was fucked up. And I'm sorry. I was on a roll. I couldn't even contain it. I don't even think I meant it. Hot take, I think Kim has a weird infatuation with Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Oh, I would totally believe that. I would totally believe that. I can't fucking stand Taylor Swift either. I sound like a woman hater right now. Give me a list of men. We can talk about those ones that I hate too. Give me a list of non-binaries. We can talk about those too. I'll go first. ER Master. Don't like them. You know someone who, in my opinion, looks like ER Master, who I also don't like? Shannon Beveridge, or whatever the fuck. She's dating Teffy. She makes me very uncomfortable in the same way that ER Master does. Also, I've heard that she takes advantage of baby gays in the community. And I don't like that. You said Chris Brown first, please. Oh, Chris Brown and Tory Lanez are actually at the top of my lineup for verbal execution. I would say physical, but I don't want to get in trouble. And I know myself. I'm not going to take the time to go buy a gun. Elon Musk, absolutely. Usher, Tory Lanez, I want his little leprechaun ass gone. Out of here. Chris Brown, get the fuck out of here. I hate that Kehlani is all up in his fucking shit now. It makes me not like Kehlani anymore. I'm sorry. It sucks. I don't want to not like her, but like, she is all over Chris Brown and I fucking hate it. So, I know she'll be fine without me. I know she's not watching this like, fuck, lost Danny. Damn it, we've had her since she was in high school. The fact that Chris Brown is even still performing is insane to me. Yeah, I agree. I can't fucking stand him. You know who I would like to also talk about? There's a predator catcher guy named Alan Rosen. And he's really racist, really homophobic, really fucking stupid and weird and whatever. Very much like a redneck. And he's the guy who wanted to bail out and was funding, like, what's his name? Chud the Builder. He was, like, funding all of that. Bullshit. A documentary just came out about someone named EDP445, and I watched it, and they featured Alex Rosin in it. And I was like, ew, don't feature him. He's a fucking disgusting loser. He's racist. He's homophobic. He's transphobic. He hates women. He hates everything. He loves Trump. But then at the end, they were like, yeah, he really butchered the investigation for the police, so the guy's free now because of him. And I was like, oh, and I'm validated. Victoria Monet, I know, she was begging him to open as well, and I was like, I saw that as well. She's always been a Chris Brown defender. See, I didn't think that she was for a long time, because when she tried to kill herself, this was like between 2016 and like 2019. I can't remember when. But she tried to kill herself because Party Next Door posted a picture of her in bed with him while she was in a relationship with Kyrie Irving. And he was like, I still got the R&B singer in my bed. And everybody was like, huh? And so then she got a lot of like backlash. She ended up in the hospital. Chris Brown put out a bunch of statements shitting on her, saying he hates her and like she's like a player. She deserves that shit. He doesn't feel bad for her. So, and then I remember she was like not fucking with that for a while. But then years ago, she randomly was like at his concert backstage taking pics with him. Their faces are smushed up together. She's posting videos of him like a real life superstar. I was like, and you lost me. Oh my God. Oops. I literally just told Isaiah last week. I was in the shower listening to Leon Thomas. And a Mutt remix came on with Chris Brown, and they don't put Chris Brown on it. It says featuring CB. And I wonder if they do that on purpose, because it came up while I was in the shower and I saw it said featuring CB, and I was like, oh, I don't know who this is. And then when he started singing, I was like, wait a minute. Chris Brown? The fuck? Why? Also, I feel like Chloe Bailey is kind of like, what's it called? Male-centered. I feel like she's kind of male-centered. She's always agreeing with men who fucking suck. It's like, okay. I feel like she just always has the worst takes I've ever heard. He's so talented. Leon Thomas is so talented. Oh, absolutely add Kanye. You guys, I made before I did the YouTube, Awake and Bake was a podcast on like Spotify and Apple and shit like that. And I did an episode where I was like shitting on Kanye just a little. Just a bit. Okay? Wait, let me take a hit first. You're right, Kaylee. People don't stand on shit. And then people act like I do too much. I'm like, no, you guys are actually just fake as fuck. Anyway. Don't worry, it's a weed cough, not a COVID cough. So there was a period of time before Kanye was like running for president and being insane, where he first started being a little wild. And he would tweet in all caps. And I made a podcast episode, and I was like, Kanye, I genuinely think if you turned off caps lock, it would take away the insanity aspect of people being like, he's fucking crazy. I think it would help your case a bit. And then I got a little nervous because this girl I went to school with, who we were kind of cool, she subtweeted me, and she was like, I hate when I hear a stupid little white girl that I went to school with talking shit about a black man online just because he's famous. Like, you don't know him, you don't know his mental health, you don't know whatever. And I knew she was talking about me. So I took it in and I said, okay, my fault. Next podcast episode, I made an apology to Kanye. It was titled, I'm sorry, Kanye West. Or I apologize, Kanye West. And I was like, you know what? I thought I was being kind of funny. In the moment, I didn't think it was that serious. But I really shouldn't joke about a black man's mental health. That's a great point, and I do apologize. I already have crazy mental health, and I'm a white woman. So, like, and I get, like, I think my mental health is valid. So, like, why would I make fun of someone else's? Like, that was fucked up of me, and, like, I really apologize, and my intention wasn't to be racist, but I see how, like, as a white person, that absolutely could be and made people feel that way, and I'm really sorry. Just for as soon as I fucking posted it, he started saying crazy MAGA shit, and then everybody was like, why did you apologize to Kanye? Why didn't you apologize? I was like, guys, I'll never do it again, and I'll never do it again. He'll never get an apology from me. Not happening. The timing was just not on my side. I was ahead of my time, really. I knew he was going off the rails. I just was a little early with the delivery. So then because of that, I got a little backlash. I said, okay, let me fix it. And then he got even crazier. I said, well, and then people were like, yeah, well, you shouldn't have put that out. The I'm sorry one out. Well, guess what, guys? I'm fucking sorry. So now when I talk shit about Kanye, I do so with my chest. I do so confidently. From a place of fact. So him being unhinged ruined his life and mine. If he would have if he would have just stayed cool and stayed chill and not gone off the rails, I wouldn't have been embarrassed, and neither would he. Maybe he'd still be married. And maybe I'd still have a podcast. No, I'm just kidding. I wouldn't still have a podcast. This is better. But yeah. It's kind of wild. Oh yeah, guys, I don't think it's loaded yet. A little bit. Before this started, right before the live stream, I had a little photo shoot for like a brand promo for the dispensary I work with. And then I had therapy as well. And I want to show you a little preview. This isn't anything like crazy. It's just, look how cute. This big ass glass heart is a pipe. A weed pipe. There's weed in it. And it's so cute. I smoked out of it. That shit fucking works. I'm about to throw that bitch in my purse. For real. Okay, can I talk about sex with you guys really quick? Real quick. It's something important. It's not like too serious. It's just important. But basically, because of all my like health issues going on, like my reproductive issues, like if you don't know, I got diagnosed with having 2 uteruses. It's a birth defect. My uterus is here. When you're in the womb, your uterus is just a tiny little sac or a horn, and then it has the 2 little bottom strings. It touches at the bottom in the womb when you're a baby in the womb. It touches at the bottom, and then these parts dissolve and become one big womb space. That's your uterus. For me, that shit touched and stopped. I said, I think I'm good. I've seen enough. So, anyway, with that happening, and then them saying that I'm also insulin resistant, my ovaries were only working at 10%, putting me on new medicine, putting me on a new diet, prepping for future possible multiple surgeries, for like a hysterectomy, a partial, not a full, because I think I'm going to keep my ovaries. And also they think that something's wrong with my kidney and bladder and, what is it? Kidney, bladder, colon. Because of my uterus being inflamed and the wrong shape and how they put an IUD in it when I didn't have a space for an IUD. So they ended up just shoving it, stabbing it into my organ, and it just sat there for like 3 years. So I just have a lot of, it's super injured basically and really inflamed, and they think that's making my insides kind of shift in a bad way. So with all of that, right, we weren't having sex every single day. Now, mind you, before that we were, and I didn't know that that's not what you were supposed to be doing. I don't know what's wrong with me, but for the past 8.5 years, I have been making my husband have sex with me. Not making, I'm literally kidding. But we have been having sex basically every single day unless I'm on my period or if like one of us is sick or don't feel something's like wrong. You know what I mean? And I thought that's what everybody was doing. I kind of thought that's what we were all out here doing. I thought that's what you were like supposed to. I didn't think you had to. I just thought that was like what the common thing was. I don't know why. I don't know why that's what I thought. And then we stopped having sex every single day because of all the shit going on. And we were having sex like way less frequently. And now that I'm getting it under control, we're back to a groove. But instead of like every day, it's like every couple days. And I'm liking every couple days way more. Way more. It's way more enjoyable. There's less pressure. And so then I was telling one of my bitches about it, Emily Glatt, you know Emily Glatt. And I was like, yeah, we've been having sex like every few days instead of like every single day. And honestly, like I'm kind of here for it. Like it's good. And she was like, yeah, bitch, I've always wondered why you do that to yourself. Like, are you not fucking exhausted? And I was like, I think I was. And I just didn't really realize, like, I don't know, you guys, but I think when I was younger, I remember hearing an adult say, like, well, if I don't have sex with my man every day, he thinks something's wrong. And I don't even remember, like, who said it. I just remember I heard it. And I think it stuck with me. And it was like, oh, well, if we're not having sex every single day, like, something's wrong. So I have to make sure I'm, like, ready to go. So I say to my husband the other day, I go, I don't know if this is weird to say, but I kind of like that we're not having sex every single day. He goes, yeah, finally, I've been fucking exhausted. He was like, I'm always down for you, but wow, that was a lot, Danielle. And I was like, oh shit, I didn't know. Like, there's something about the spontaneity, and it takes off like the pressure of it when you don't plan it and you're not expecting it to happen a certain amount of time. Like, because sometimes I'm just really not in the mood for it. And I would still do it, but it was not like a forced situation. I think I would just be like, why not? Why not? Sure, why not? Kind of thing. But I wasn't like enthusiastic, I guess. Or maybe I just wasn't as energized or like in the mood necessarily. But I would even initiate it when I wasn't in the mood because I was like, oh, well, it's almost bedtime and we haven't fucked yet. So I would just like walk into the room like completely naked or something. And then he would be like, all right, let's go. But instead, now it's been way more like spontaneous and in the moment. And there's no pressure. And I'm like, why did I not do this sooner? And then I told my therapist. She was like, I was trying to tell you that you would use sex like, what did she say? Not validation, that wasn't it. She was like, I've told you that I feel like you kind of use sex as a performance sometimes. Like, it's just like something that you're like, oh yeah, now I'm supposed to do this. And I always thought, oh, well, I'm autistic, so a lot of stuff that I do throughout the day, I don't really want to do. It feels just like, okay, now I'm supposed to do this. Now I'm supposed to do this. And not forcing myself I don't want it to sound like he was forcing it or anyone was forcing it because it wasn't like that. We're both neurodivergent. I think we're both just like, I don't know. I'm his first girlfriend and well, we're married now, but I'm his first, like, you know, I'm his first. So how would he know? He's my second and my only healthy. So how would I know? And the old relationship I was in, bro was a sex addict and we had to have sex 2 or 3 times a day. And to me, that was excessive, but not because it was daily, but because of how many times daily and stuff. So I guess I just didn't really realize, like, there have been, like, multiple days. Like, there's been, like, when I'm not on my period, I'm talking about. There's been, like, many days, even like, a week about, where, like, we didn't have sex and we were just, like, hanging out and, like, laughing and having fun. Which we always do that, but I don't know. It was just so nice to be like, there's no pressure. I don't have to, like, you know, can I ask how old you are? Yeah, yeah. I'm 28. I'll be 29 in October. Isaiah and I got married when we were 23. And we met when we were 19. Well, no. When we were 20. When we were 20. But yeah, now he's 29. I'm 28. I'll be 29 in October. But yeah, it's been really nice to, like, I just wish that people talk sometimes about, like, I think on TV they make it seem like you're supposed to be having a lot of sex, like, all the time. And to me, since I've not really had a fuck ton of experience, like, or sorry, not a fuck ton of partners. I can count on one hand how many partners I've been with. Which is not, I don't mean that like I'm sad about it, and I don't mean it like I'm proud of it. It's just, that's just how my life has ended up. But as somebody who has only had like a small like handful of partners, and Isaiah being my first partner that he's not toxic, I really didn't, I don't really know. I've never really asked my friends, like, I don't keep up with their sex life in that way. You know what I mean? Because to me, when my friends tell me about their sex, I'm just assuming they're having it a lot. I don't really know. But yeah, I just told him it feels really nice to not feel like we have to have sex every single day. And he was like, finally, I was waiting for you to chill out. I was like, well, damn, babe. Sorry. But I wish that people kind of like talked about this a little bit more, because I don't want to have sex every single day. And I wasn't having bad sex. That's not what I mean either. It was just kind of like, some days I was obviously very into it. And then on the other days when I wasn't like super in the mood, but I just thought like, well, this is what you do. It just kind of was like, okay, this is enjoyable. It's just not necessarily what I was in the mood for. And he never pressured me ever. Like, that's the other thing. Like, if one of us was like, not tonight, that was fine. Absolutely. Like, if someone has a bellyache or they're too sleepy. But for the most part, we were having sex like every day. And I just think, I don't know why I was doing that. And Isaiah was like, you were the initiator. And I was like, no, and you're right. And I don't know. You said you think that people often assume other people are having sex more than they actually are. I think so. I think that's what I'm realizing. Because the sex is better now. It's longer now. I'm in the mood more for it now. Because when you have days in between, you actually have time to get in the mood. So yeah, I don't know. It was just like, I said, like, I forget how I said it, but I was like, it's kind of nice to like be able to just like relax and like chill and not feel like we have to do it like every single day kind of thing. And Isaiah was like, I honestly prefer that. I prefer that we just chill, and if we feel like it, then we feel like it. But if not, that's more than fine. Because I'm a very sexual person, but like, it gets to a point. You know what I mean? And I thought, oh, it's just because I'm autistic, so maybe I'm just like not getting it. But now, oh, I'm getting it. Now I get the hype, because now that I'm waiting in between sessions, I'm in the mood. So, yeah, that was a really big breakthrough for me recently. And in case anybody was listening who was like, I also have struggled with knowing how often are we supposed to be having sex. I think what I'm learning is it just is different for everybody, and it doesn't fucking matter, and don't feel like it has to be every day, because guess what? You might get tired as fuck. You might get really fucking tired. Like, we had a whole ass like, because he was like, I just thought you had a really high sex drive. And like, so I was like down. But I was like, no, I don't have a higher sex drive apparently than the average person. I just thought like that's what you do. It was like, honestly, it was like part of my routine, I guess. Like, it was just like one of those things that I was like, okay, and then you're all supposed to do this, and then I'll, like, you know, you brush your teeth, you go through the day, you work, you do this, you do this, you have sex, you eat dinner, you know? Anyway, all that to say, intimacy does not have to always be fucking. It doesn't always need to be sucking and fucking. It can be Isaiah and I sitting on the couch, and I'm making him watch Love Island reruns, like old episodes that he hasn't seen. Or it can look like us doing our own thing. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I was like, I don't feel like I was like doing anything bad. I just feel like I was doing myself a disservice by feeling like I needed to have sex so much. Just for when I bring it up to my husband, him to be like, I mean, thanks. I was waiting for us to not have to do it every day. I was like, God damn. Well, damn. I'm always glad to see people tuning into their bodies and sexual expression. Love languages are the majority of intimacy. Right. When it's good, it's exhausting. Yes. And that's also what I'm learning, is it's a different kind of exhausting now. Because now, like I said, they're longer sessions. They're better. I'm sweating sometimes. Anyway, yeah. I like not having that pressure that I put on myself. He didn't put it on me. Was it fun for you every time? It was never like not fun. Here's the thing. I realized I was doing this kind of recently where I would initiate sex. I would initiate it without being in the mood for it because I was like, but I don't have like a reason not to. Like, I just felt like I was like supposed to. I don't know. I don't like, it was never not fun. I wouldn't obviously orgasm every time because it was so frequent and like not always, I wasn't always really into it, but I was usually the one to initiate it. Now, since we've been doing it different schedule, he's been initiating, but I was usually the one to initiate it, but I would initiate it when I didn't even want to do it. And I don't know why. Like, I'm sure it's like a subconscious programming of feeling like I need to for some fucking reason. But I was the one really like doing it even when I wasn't in the mood. And I'm not really sure why I was doing that. And I told Isaiah that. He goes, I don't know why either. Keeson, hi. Yeah. I mean, I will say, like, obviously when he had cancer and was going through chemo, we weren't having sex at all for that time period but he didn't feel good. Like, we missed days. I'm not saying every single day, no exceptions. I'm not, like, a demon. I just think I think my therapist was right. I was performing sex. Oh my God, is that what she fucking meant? Because when she said I like to perform sex, I was like, I don't know what you mean, because it's not a performance. I'm actually fucking. But I also am like performing, I guess, because I'm being like, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. Almost like masking, like I'm like, okay, well, this is what I'm supposed to do. But he never told me that I had to do it, and I was the one kind of like putting myself in that position. It's just been a very eye-opening experience. And I've been wondering why I did that for the past 8.5 years. You used to do it as well? Okay, thank you for saying that, because I was starting to feel a little crazy, because I was like, okay, so no one can relate? So no one has ever been confused? But yeah, I'm feeling just like a lot more, sexually happy, satisfied. But yeah. Let's take another hit. I had horrible dreams last night. And whenever I wake up from like really bad dreams, my husband says that I act like really like silly and goofy and hyper and like whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm trying to reinforce like a sense of play. I'm trying to reinforce like a sense of like silliness, and it's not that deep. It's not that serious. And this morning when I woke up, I had a terrible dream. Had nothing to do with him. But I will say the him in my dreams, the Isaiah in my dreams is not the Isaiah in real life. He looks a little different. He has an accent. Don't know what it is. It's like a mixture of like Italian and South African. I can never tell what it is. He has an accent. I mean, he's not that nice to me. It's very strange. But the dream that I had last night was, it had something to do with like Isaiah dying or some shit. He wasn't doing anything bad to me in the dream. He was like dying and I didn't want that to happen. So I wake up and I'm like overly like giddy and stuff. And I'm like, look at you, you're alive and beautiful and healthy and da 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 da. He looks at me and he goes, you had a really bad dream last night, didn't you? About me? What happened? I was like, I thought I lost you. Rainbow, that was pretty deep, what you just said about you didn't know how to act during sex because you wanted to be desired, you suppose, so like masking. That makes a lot of sense. See, I just feel like I'm learning so much about myself because I'm like, bitch, I don't know. I feel like I'm just questioning why I was doing that. No one made me, you know? I'm just trying to figure out like why I put myself in that position, because also like Zay said he was a little exhausted sometimes, but he was like, yeah, but also like if I see you naked, I get really horny, so it's easy, like it's fine. Whereas I would be like the one initiating it and not even be in the mood. And I think I just thought like, I'm supposed to do this. That's that public school education. I'm just kidding. Speaking of education, because when I was in public school, Michelle Obama was trying to put healthy food in the vending machines and everybody got pissed about that. Michelle Obama has a podcast called In My Opinion with someone else, and Megan Thee Stallion was on it a couple days ago. And I encourage all of you to watch it. I would do anything for Megan Thee Stallion. I would do anything for Megan Thee Stallion. Seeing her on Broadway in Moulin Rouge and then having Emily and I like stage door and see her there. Like Emily got a picture with her, got her autograph. I was too tall to squeeze through, but that's okay. I got to still see. I would lay down my life for Megan, is what I'm trying to say. And she was on Michelle Obama's podcast recently. First of all, she looked incredible. Second of all, I didn't even know. Guys, Tina Snow was back. I know. Did you see what I shared on Instagram, like from her photo shoot? Oh, she's so cool with like the wolf or whatever. But basically she was covering like her life story. She talked about her mom. She talked about her career. She talked about like struggles that she's faced and everything. I'm not even kidding. Like just hearing Meg talk about her own life, I was like, is someone cutting onions? I love her so much. Oh, the way she loves her mother. It's beautiful. She's so fine. She's so fine and so fun. And you've seen Megan live once at a Beyonce concert and you think about it every day. I love her so much. I want her to have a permanent spot on Love Island as well. And she was talking about that. She talked about Love Island. She was like, yeah, they send me in there to like lighten the energy whenever stuff gets too heavy. I'm truly obsessed with that woman. No, and exactly. And when it comes to parasocial relationships, usually I'm like, don't be parasocial. I'm parasocial with Megan. I don't give a fuck, and I always will be. I would lay down my life for her. My nail tech and I, my nail tech's one of my best friends. And one day we were talking about like celebrities and people, and I was like, oh, I really love Megan Thee Stallion and Keke Palmer, but this was a while ago. And I was like, I don't think they'd ever let me down. Keke let me down. But I was like, I don't think they'd ever let me down. And then she was like, I don't know. I wouldn't say that, because when you say that, that's when it happens. I was like, pish posh. Keke let me down. My nail tech was like, what'd I say? I was like, but we still have Megan. And if Megan is ever wrong, I don't want to be right. I want her to do her own dating show. Oh my God, yes. Everyone can have one parasocial relationship. After that, you turn into, what's that bitch it? Like Kendra, the psychiatrist, who she had like, after that, it gets weird. After that, it gets a little weird. Oh, she wasn't a psychiatrist. She had a crush on her psychiatrist. Very strange. That Kendra lady is back on the internet. She says she's going to finish her story. I'm like, can you please leave that man alone? It has been a year. Oh, fuck. I'm on 2%. We're going to take one hit and then I'm going to go. Well, you can hit as much as you want. But I will have to go. I love Zendaya. Oh, I love her. She reminds me. She looks like my... Okay. Let me preface this. Their features. My best friend, Michaela, she's Vietnamese and... No, she's Japanese and Korean. Looks in the face and like in her mouth and eyes and like little cheeks looks just like Zendaya. Michaela's my friend on Broadway. She's Jasmine in Aladdin right now. Hold on. But I love Zendaya and I love Michaela. And then every time I hang out with Michaela and I like notice her features more, it reminds me of Zendaya. So then when I watch a movie with Zendaya, I'm like, I love you so much. You're my sweet little Michaela. Like I feel like I'm besties with Zendaya. Hi, Farrell. That was our last take because I'm on 1% now. So sorry about that. Lauren, it was really fun to have you in the chat today. I really like what you brought, like the energy that you brought to the conversation. And I agree, you're one pair. There are restrictions. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. Please like, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your grandma.